All right, hello everybody, and we're live. I have a couple things to edit first before I go into this, but hey, welcome. This is a evening draw and chat, art and chat, whatever you want to call this. So I'll be working with some oil pastels and just whoever decides to join this live. I don't know where you are, where you're viewing from, but it is 10:30 Pacific Standard Time, and we'll call this a late night draw and chat. So if you are having insomnia, feel free to tune in. Or if you're viewing, chances are you're probably viewing this at a later time if you're hearing this. Simply because a stream needs a few moments to get settled. So what's today's date? Alexa, what's today's date?
It's Monday, May 13th.
Alright, so it's Monday, May 13th. And we're doing this late night draw and chat. And here we go. Update some of our settings here. And we're gonna be live. So what we're working on right now is just going through this book. This is a classic drawing book by a gentleman named Charles Bargue, and he did this book where basically it's just a bunch of, there's no words in it that tell you how to draw. You just copy all of these different pieces in the book, and there you have it. You learn to draw just like that. And I definitely, out of all the things that I've worked on, I totally swear by this book as far as resources from which to study or learn drawing. So right here, this piece is a bit big, but I might be able to use it on our next study. Yeah, let me do another page of this. I want to do this with another page, and then we'll go back. Actually, you know what? Let me just tear this out, and we'll go ahead and work again on a new sheet here. Oh my goodness, this is glued on. Okay, there we go. So I hope you're all doing fantastic. This is a very live and interactive stream. So if you're tuning in, say hello. If you want to just lurk, I don't really know why anyone would really want to lurk on this stream because it's supposed to be interactive. There's a lot of gamers out there who I think have great streams. But, you know, they're so focused on the video game itself that there's really no interaction. Unless, you know, you just considered huge spammy lines of text where nobody gets seen interaction. And this stream is all about you, my dear viewer, despite the idea that I will be working on artwork. We are here to chat, whether it's you're another artist or this is just a late evening for you and you have insomnia. I guess for late evening streaming, I should have a much more chill tone of voice. I find that my morning coffee voice probably is not conducive to just relaxing in the evening, so I might have to slow down the way I talk for this. As Chris Voss calls it, the late night FM DJ voice. And while I may not have that down we can definitely work on it right now. So how is everybody doing this evening? Hope you're all fantastic. And right now I'm working on a couple of art studies, and I hope that everybody gets to join in on the fun here. So feel free to say hello, share some words, whatever that is. If you're on the East Coast, it's probably about 1:30 a.m. If you're on the West Coast, it's still fairly early. And here we go. Let's see. So we go like this. It's not that much longer. That's going to be just a little bit, about half the length of that. So there we go. And then we're going to go boom, boom. And I'll just be talking through some of the things that I'm working on. So constantly just looking for the right angles. This is a great book because it starts simple with just the lines that anybody can draw. You just got to figure out where they are. And then you start to shade in the rest. And it really is that easy. It just keeps it nice and simple. The lessons for drawing. And this is, and I already knew how to draw before this book. But I do love learning new techniques, new ways of doing things, experimenting, trying new ideas. That is a part of my personal creative mission, is to constantly try new ideas. And I think that that's a powerful thing for anybody. And with that said, I'm trying a new way of talking that's not necessarily my normal way of speech. So if I start to talk weird, that's why. If I start to talk like that character from Star Wars, now you know why. But I was watching this really interesting movie the other night, and it was called Painter. It was with Owen Wilson, as funny of a gentleman as he is. And he basically plays a Bob Ross-like character. I don't know if everybody watching this knows who Bob Ross is, the late, great Bob Ross. May he rest in peace. But he plays a Bob Ross-like character. He has the afro and everything. And he's a painter on live TV. And I just thought it was such a funny movie. Just the subtle humor. The movie just has some really subtle humor. And the way he portrays Bob Ross with this really soft voice, and some of the characters, when his character, Owen Wilson's character, is talking to them, he says, "Are you yelling at me?" And his voice is like this super soft, like just quiet, you can barely hear him. And I just thought that was so hilarious because he yells with this just gentle, soft voice. And I can only imagine, like, someone had to think, how does Bob Ross yell at people? How does Bob Ross get angry? What is Bob Ross like when he's angry? And he's probably just got this really nice, gentle, soft, relaxing, soothing voice. I just found that element of the movie just kind of hilarious. As far as its portrayal of Bob Ross. Now, I did recommend it to some people, and I will say that those people did not like the movie. However, everybody's got their own tastes. I thought it was a pretty decent movie, and it was a portrayal of the state of Vermont, out of all places. How many movies are there about Vermont? I can't name a single other movie about Vermont. So it's really interesting to see that. And I really do wonder where Bob Ross had performed his shows. I'm guessing it's probably Los Angeles. But here we go. I'm just drawing down, sketching down some of these pieces. I'm just estimating the lengths here, just estimating and keeping estimating and using the overall shapes and the forms of these two. And I will share progress along the way, but for now, you know, as I'm working through these, just feel free to jump in and say hello. Jump in and say hello. I always wonder whenever I do these live streams, as far as any painter goes, but you know, Bob Ross is the only known one, how Bob Ross might have interacted live. Because I work in film and TV sometimes, and I don't know if you know this, but most of television is scripted, right? Like everything is planned beforehand. And it's one of those things where, you know, all the brilliant, amazing things that Bob Ross has always said, were they scripted? It's a good question. And I feel like it's one of those things I don't really want to know the answer to. Like, I like the magic of just imagining that he's just this dude who has all these really inspirational quotes and words to share with people. And here we go, knocking out these lines, creating the overall magic coming through our fingers. And let's see, here we go, we'll get another toe. So the subject matter that I'm working on right now, and I've been working on it for quite a few hours, is a foot. This is going to be a foot, and I will show this in a few moments. I just want to get the basic sketch down first. Get the basic sketch down before I start laying any lines down. This is going to extend down. Let's get this toe here. And I hope you're all having a wonderful evening. If you're here at this hour, there must be something keeping you up. I hope that there's something keeping you up and that I'm able to help you get through it in a helpful way. And here we go. So yeah, because I can already see some issues with my proportions. But you know what? We'll make this work. Just constantly looking to find patterns within these toes. And if you're here, whenever I stay up and I see these like late night TV shows, I often think of this crazy movie, adults only, but this crazy movie called Requiem for a Dream. I don't know if any of you ever saw that, but it is a wild and crazy film. And you know, I think of people who who have trouble sleeping, and this idea of staying up so late that you can actually have time to watch late night TV. Oh, all right. So let's see. Got a couple of jacked up toes here that I should fix. Got that coincides with that. And then this is going to coincide with this. One, two, three, four, five. All right, I got the right amount of toes, at least. So here we go. Feet have been, ears were hard. But the feet can be quite complicated to draw. And then next up, we're probably gonna have some hands. Next up, we'll probably have some hands to work with. So fortunately, I finished the sketch, but as you can see, I had some details that I needed to work on this toe over here. But fortunately, we're working with oil pastels, which means we can pretty much go into this and mostly cover it. Mostly draw and blend away these issues. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to go in with a mid-color color tone that's pretty much this color that we have right now. In fact, it is this color that we have right now. And we're just going to keep pushing through it until we reach a point where I'm ready to add the darker shades, the darker colors, the darker values in art terms, if we're going to art terms here. And using the oil pastel to just get in here and get some of the colors defined and settled in. Oh yeah, okay, so here we go. Let's do this. So on one side of this foot, I'm just getting nice and gentle with the colors here, allowing them to essentially create the shape itself, create the form, 3D-ness, create this level of light detail here. Let's go. Okay. So here we go. Pushing some of the colors here. Starting with these basic outlines just to create the design. And then once we start to really get those colors deep into detail here, things just kind of flow for themselves. Things just start to work out. It's magic. Art really is like magic sometimes to me, where you can be doing one thing and then suddenly, you know, it's not working, and then suddenly, bam, just out of nowhere. It's like things just start to happen, and the whole project starts to come together. and it's like magic. It really is like magic. But of course I did have the issue with this this one area, so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to, how easily I'll be able to do that covered up, but we'll see. This will be a test, the ability to fix a mistake while drawing. So for the record, those that are familiar with this or not familiar with this, the whole way of working with this material is really literally just copying whatever it is that they have already drawn here and copying it. And right now, getting some of the details of the feet. You can essentially start to see it coming together here a little better as we start to add dimension with this color. So one thing that I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in with a darker color here, a darker green. We're just going to add like a dark green on top of this. I'm going to go with a dark green. And this is going to help us start to just create a level of dimension here. A level of magic. Dimension is the magic. Dimension creates magic. The magic of creating the illusion of a 3D form simply by using darker or lighter colors. It's such a interesting and powerful idea. And what I also find quite fascinating about it is this idea that there were artists who didn't know about this stuff. For the longest time, this wasn't like something that was highly studied. And while like the early artists might have known about it and maybe even kept it a secret from the world simply because they felt they might have had a recipe for creating masterpieces, not every artist knew these tricks of, let's call them like 3D, knew these tricks to create illusions. But the artists that did, they did very, very well. They made amazing pieces. And then they passed them on until eventually someone decided to write the books about them. So here we go. Adding this extra layer of dimension here. So I'm going through this with multiple layers of oil pastels, multiple layers to create a variety of dimensions. Let's go. We got this toe right here. find it hilarious that there exists a rapper that goes by the name of Lil Toe. That is absolutely hilarious. I'm pretty sure he's a comedian, but he also does a good job of acting like a rapper. So let's see what we're working with here. I've got a couple little issues. So that some problem solving that requires my deeper attention to detail right now as I work with this space right here. So we're gonna go up right here. And then around, and then this toe. Oh yeah, okay. So there's just these three little sections here. Now let's go for a darker side toe here. And all right, so I know that at some point this will all come together, because it always does. It always works out as long as you just push through it and just keep trusting yourself. Just continue to believe in yourself as far as trusting your own personal judgment. That can sometimes be the difficult thing when you're working on art. Especially today when we see social media and we see these artists do these time-lapse videos of like 30 seconds to finish like a painting that took them like 6 months to finish. And I think we could see that, and it could be so easy to get lost in this idea that that what we need to do should look the way it does, or should look a certain way, simply because of this illusion of art that we've talked ourselves into. And there we go. So the darkest color is going to go right here. And then we're going to go go around the edges, of course. Get some shading around the edges here. And there needs to be a darker bottom. All right, so let's find a good color that I'll do a little quick share, since I've already finished my second part of this. So just working on continuing to build the form and the structure of the foot here. You know, I started off with this like simple layer of just this middle green, and then I started with this dark green to really tighten up the shadows. And now we're just working on filling. We're gonna figure out what to do with this center here. I need a really light color to settle that in, but I can use any color. Like, let's play with a variety of colors here. We've got so many options at our disposal that to not use them would be quite a shame. So here we go. I'm gonna go into this next shade here. And you know what? I still think it's a little too bright. I want to use a yellow. I'd like to use a yellow for this. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to use a nice yellow for some of this, for this lighter area. And honestly, I feel like this yellow is even lighter than, darker than the green. So this might end up being a failed experiment. But let's see. Let's keep pushing through this, and we will come up with something. We will come up with something. I wonder if when oil pastels came into existence, because, you know, when I think of art supplies today, I definitely think we could take so many things for granted, even like crayons. You know, there were artists who couldn't paint outside of a studio setting because they didn't have the same type of art supplies. They didn't have paint tubes at one point in history. And to think that somehow artists still made it happen. They had to like make up their own ingredients for art supplies. That just blows my mind, because I don't know how I would ever come up with my own art ingredients. So this is actually a very lustrous yellow. I don't know. I'm still discovering whether this is going to create the effect that I want, but we'll find out here in a moment. We'll discover this together, people. This will be discovered together. And together we shall find out if this color yields a successful experiment. It's not even an experiment. I don't know why I just said that. It's not an experiment. It is what it is. It just is what it is. So here we go. I said that one time and it triggered somebody. I said it is what it is, and they got really upset because in their mind, you know, they're like, no, that's a cop-out. It's not, it doesn't have to be what it is. It can be whatever you say it is. And I thought that was powerful. I really liked that perspective. Now, I still use the phrase, but at some level, I couldn't help but think, yeah, they got something. You know, they got something there with what they're saying. It's not what it is. Things don't have to be. Things aren't always what it is, right? Things change. Things can be modified. Things can be under your own personal control, your own personal sphere of influence. They don't have to be what it is. So I was really enjoyed that conversation with that random person who wouldn't let me get by with just saying it is what it is. And here we go. So this should be called the Sprite Foot because it's the color of the Sprite can. So here we go. Still building into some of these areas, and I'll share some progress here in a moment once I get the major areas shaded in. One thing about doing it this way, so this is originally designed for drawing, but one thing that I do is I use oil pastels, as you can tell, and as I use these oil pastels, I have to spend some extra time because it's a matter of selecting colors, a matter of using these colors the right way, and blending them, choosing just the right ones to fit. And while I'm not done yet, here's a little progress, as y'all can see. So we've got this right here, we've got this foot, and I've got this foot right here that we're working on. So, you know, you could see right away that there's a couple of differences, but pretty much fairly similar, you know, close enough. But still got a couple things I got to work on. Got to define the toe a little better, fix the toe up a little bit. The big toe, I mean, to be specific, and get some of the shading on the foot a little bit more defined. But, you know, overall, we have progress. And that's the important thing is getting progress toward your destination. It doesn't have to be huge, massive steps. So long as you're moving forward, you're moving along. And that's it. I really think that pretty much anybody can learn the essentials of how to draw from this book, because you know there's not too much theory, right? Because I think we're all going to be, everybody draws and creates art with their own habits. Some people are habitually perfectionists. Some people can't live with themselves if they, you know, put a line down and it's not perfectly straight. Some people can't tolerate, you know, perfectly straight lines. And I think that it's really interesting to see all the variety of artwork. But anybody can pretty much learn how to draw from this material, mostly because it doesn't really tell you how to do things. Yes, it has a very specific way, it's a very specific style, but you know, it doesn't tell you how. It just kind of leaves that open. And I think the original interpretation of this material was that you had to do things a certain way because that's how the schools taught it. But, you know, today I think times have changed. They didn't write the instructions in the book, and I think they did it on purpose. Mainly because it's not necessarily a right or a wrong way. It's a, how do you want to achieve the design of this thing that you're working on. So, you know what? Instead of going with another yellow, rather than using a darker value, I want to use a contrast. A red, orange, yellow, green, red, orange, yellow. So let's use an orange. I'm going to go with the orange here. And we're going to create some of the outlines where they're going to be white, where the space is going to be white. If you know where your values go, if you know your values, then you can really start to create something unique. And let's see, how do we want to work in some more of this color here? I'd like to just blend it in on top as a nice little layer. This is really easily done with oil pastels, because oil pastels, you know, you just lay them on top of each other and just start to create the textures that you want. And I'm layering like an orange on top of a top of a green surface, green and yellow surface. And I'm trying to think if I want another color, if I really want to push the color boundaries on this piece. But you know what? I think I'm just going to go around it with purple. And we're going to unify it with nice purple. Nice purple. So let me just share with you a little progress before I go around with purple. So we started with a yellow. We started with this light green that you can start to see. This was the majority of the base. And then you can see as I went around with some of the darker colors to really define some of the edges and some of the shadows. Now I did lose that along the way here a little bit because I started to, I could probably darken that after, but because I used a yellow and I kind of like started to use the yellow to blend around the sides, it did flatten it out a little bit. But overall, I mean, you know, just getting some of the forms and shapes down. And right now we're going to go around it with the purple and we're going to show how it looks. And here we go. Things can look so different once you start to add like another color into the mix here. Okay. Like if you add just the right color. Now, I don't necessarily know if this purple is going to be just the right color to go around this green with. I was thinking that, you know, the majority of the color that I'm using is like a green or yellow in the central area, so maybe I should go with purple as like a complementary. But now because I see so much orange and green, I'm thinking that maybe it would have been a better idea to go with like a blue or even a red because the outline is a green. But I'm sure this will still show up nicely. This is like a reddish purple, so that's okay. I think it'll get the best of both worlds here. And just going around. Going around and helping to form the edges, define the edges of our feet right now. And here we are, just a super simple foot. A foot based on Charles Bargue's drawings here. Super simple foot. We used a lot of green and yellow, and then, you know, I really just put this border, this purple outline, just so we could kind of see, you know, a little bit of a contrast of its surroundings. Now, part of me wants to define some of the shadows a little better and add some new values, but I'm also ready to move on to another foot. So that's what we're gonna do. And let's see, let's pull back another sheet of paper. So I had this piece from last time, and I don't really feel like I fully used it. So I'd like to add another foot. This will be a last study for the evening, just this page right here, these two. I'll show some progress along the way as we go. So as you're tuning in, don't be shy. And one thing I like to do as exercise, I like to draw. So this right here is a foot that's at an angle. So I'm gonna draw it like this. I'm not gonna turn it I'm not going to turn it so that it faces the right way. I'm just going to draw from the side. I think that's a great drawing exercise. Or not just a drawing exercise, but a way to get your mind to start seeing rather than get your mind to start assuming. You know, it's so easy to get lost in this when you're trying to draw something to, you know, have your preconceived assumptions about the way something should look. And that can affect your drawing. But if you can, you know, turn something like a face or a foot upside down and then draw it in its upside down image, it can really help you to train yourself to see things rather than assume things. So here we are. We're going to start with a little portion of a sphere, sort of. Let's do this. So I'm looking at this foot right now. And let's see, so we're going to go down and we're going to form that ankle part just a little bit right there. And then we're going to go straight down, straight across to form this. And then we're going to go again, another angle upwards. And here we go, we're going to do another ankle downwards. We're going to say that this ankle should be a little further than that one. So just a little bit further where this gap is. You know what I've been enjoying a lot lately? Dreams. I started doing this about a year ago. I started doing this great exercise of basically telling yourself that you're going to remember your dreams at night. And by doing so, you're basically able to command yourself to start to remember your dreams. But what you have to do is in the mornings, you have to think to yourself, okay, I'm going to write down this dream, because you have to have a reason for remembering it. And what I find is you can quickly start to remember and remember your dreams in like vivid details. And I find it just a fascinating exercise of the mind that you can train yourself to remember your dreams. It's like something that I never really thought was possible, but it totally is. And here we go. So I'm working around here. We're gonna go almost straight here, and then we're gonna go curve it around, and we're gonna go curve it inward. We're gonna get that heel. And then here we go. So this is gonna come straight down too. So I don't know if any of you have ever had a dream, ever had any exercises to manage your dreams, but I find it totally fascinating, worth looking into. I use this resource called the Silva method. Great resource. called the Silva method. I highly recommend it to anybody who's like interested in personal growth, self-development, things like that. So that's going to be about halfway, more than halfway here. And actually this almost goes straight across. I've almost got like a straight across thing going on, and somewhere more than halfway we're going to go up. Actually, you know what? We should find an area of which to do this. So we're going to find a way. Let's find a way. Somewhere right here. Oh, too much of an angle. And let's see where this toe is going to go. And pretty much follow this. All right, Shaya Singh, W drawing. Yes, W drawing. What do you mean by that? Wasn't quite sure what the W stood for. Is that what you drawing? Is that what that meant? What are you drawing? So right now I'm actually drawing a foot. As I find saying that funny because it's late. And here I am drawing a foot for the sake of knowledge. And here we go. I actually do plan on using these drawings in the future, which, you know, I think everything that I do, I would love to possibly use it one day as part of some art piece or another. There's this great thing I learned from an artist named Basquiat. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of him. I'm sure you have. He's been making some huge rounds lately. Some great rounds. We got like a big tour with all his paintings and stuff, and all right, let's establish our foot a little better, and then we can start to move on. So this toe is going to come down like so, and then we're going to go curve this up. So we're actually drawing feet right now. That's our study. We're going to go like so. So this is going to come right up. And we're going to get another toe that comes around. And then another toe that comes around again. And here we go. All right, so we're about to share a little update here. So we have this base foot right now. Got this fun little base foot. And what I'm expecting is that we'll be able to turn it into something much more exciting. So that's a little quick progress here. And again, I am drawing these sideways. So, you know, if this is sideways, I'm drawing it sideways. So let's go ahead. What colors do we want to use? If you're watching this right now, feel free to share some color ideas. But if I've got this as a dark blue, let's go with, let's go with black. Let's use some black. The magnificent color of black. So part of me needs to soften some of the edges and the corners around here. I'm gonna need a new set of oil pastels soon. Okay, and here we are. We're adding some more shadows into this space here. This is really difficult because there's so much shadow to work with. So this toe needs to get into the shadow right here. And we're going to get some more shadow right here. And then we're going to get some shadow right under the big toe. And here we are. This is just one big shadowy foot. One big shadowy foot. And that's going to come across like so. We will have an update here for you viewers in a moment. And so we got our black down. Got our black. And let's see. So we're going to go triangle. like that. That black. And here we go. Okay. So, let's take our next color. We're going to share the progress right now. Here's our progress so far on this foot. Just really tightened it down, nailed it down with some black. And what I'd like to do is, I think what we'll use for our mid color is a dark red. Let's go with a nice, they call this a brown. This brown really looks like a red, but we're gonna go ahead and use this. So this is like a red clay, like a clay red or a clay brown. We're going to go ahead and just use this as a color to fill in some of the space here. Some of the spaces that are much lighter in value. Lighten parts of this up a bit. And let's see, so we can actually pull this around, add some of this into here, some more across the foot. And there's not too much of this actually. So now what we need is a very bright contrasting color. So what colors go good with black and brownish dark red? Let's go with orange. Let's do an orange, shall we? What's going on, everybody? Welcome. So we're gonna go, this is the last drawing that we're doing real quick. So just knocked out this like red shader area after I did my black. And right now we're going to go through it with some orange. And this orange is hopefully going to be enough to create this contrast. To create a contrast. Contrasting enough color that helps to separate the shadow spaces You know what? It didn't quite get the same effects as our last foot. But I will share some progress. So here we go. The last drawing of the evening. Not done yet, but so this is this one. The last two. I will say I'm much happier with this one than I am with this other one. But maybe, you know what, it's not meant to be totally super defined. So let me see what I can do to at least spice it up a little better. I probably need to go in with I need to neutralize some of this black. And black and orange. So if I can neutralize some of the black and orange, maybe we'll go with like a super bright, go with a pink. Let's go with a pink here. Yeah, so the problem is that there's not enough white space. There's not enough of a clear delineation between the brighter white areas. Let's just go around all this with blue, and then we will call this a finished project. It's getting late, and it is time to get some sleep. So here we go, just filling in the space. I usually like to create like a background. Like a background color to really separate the design from the paper. Sometimes it helps it to pop a bit better. But anyway, this foot was totally wash. I'm not too happy with it, but I think, you know what? I like all my stuff, is what I should say. Yeah, I could see this being an interesting foot. It's got some good color qualities, and the black and orange. It's quite a unique color combo. But these are the two projects that we did this evening. Just a quick final share down. We have a big one and a small one. Two quick studies of the human foot. But I guess this isn't really a human foot. It's actually based on a statue. So this book itself, most of the studies are based on like statues, which I find so interesting because that's how they believed that every artist back then should study commercially, is that artists should always start with like just studying statues and painting statues and drawing statues before they ever moved on to the human figure. That was like reserved for like the top artists. But today it doesn't really matter. But anyway, that's a wrap on tonight. We're going to be finished with this live stream. And for those of you that tuned in, thanks and have a great day.